In this section, we're looking at polynomials. And when we look at polynomials, think poly, many, nomial, meaning terms. It's a series of terms. Now, terms are things that are being connected by addition. Each term has a coefficient. And for a polynomial, each term has a variable to a certain exponent. Now, for standard form, we write polynomials in decreasing exponent. So maybe we would have 2x to the 7th. Then the next one would be x to the 6th. And it's going to have its own coefficient. Now, the coefficients could be negative or positive. And we could actually even skip one of the terms, and that would really mean that I had a coefficient of 0 for x to the 5th. But I'm going to continue on down, blah, 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 until I get to, let's say, x squared. Then the next one would be just an x, because x to the 1, we don't have to put that exponent. And then the last one will be x to the 0 power, which really means we have no x's left. You'll just have a number. You'll just have that constant, meaning it's there by itself without anything together. Now, all of your exponents need to be whole numbers. That means we start at 0 and go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so forth. Cannot have any fractions, no negative numbers, none of that for your exponents. We're also dealing with only real numbers for our coefficients, so no weird things for coefficients. Now, they have special names. We said polynomial means many term. If you only have one term, it's called a monomial. Two terms is a binomial. And three terms is a trinomial. Now, any other number of terms, you would just say it's 4-term, 5-term, 6-term. We don't have special names for it. Now, we do have special names depending on the degree. Now, what the degree is that's your largest exponent. Like this would be a degree of 7, because it's the largest exponent. The special names are for when we have certain degrees. Degree of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All have special names. Now, if I have a function with a degree of 0, that really means I don't have an x at all. That would be if I had a function equals 4. X to the 0 power that's not really there. No matter what I plug in for x, I get the same number back. That is constant. It is not changing at all. A degree of 1 means my largest exponent for x is a 1. So that would be something like that, exponent of 1. Well, we should recognize that as a linear function. The next one would be a degree of 2. That's when you have x squared. Now, it could be x squared by itself. It could be several other things with it. It could have a coefficient in front. As long as the largest exponent is 2, that'd be a 2. That's called a quadratic. Exponent of 3 gives me my x cubed. And creatively enough, that's called a cubic. X to the 4th is going to give me a quartic. And there's also a special name for x to the 5th. That is called a quintic. Now, while I'm on here, I'm going to go through and do a little quick example of what each of these look like, so you can kind of start getting an idea of how polynomials work. Now, a constant, if you had y equals just a single number, that gives you a horizontal line. Constant, nothing going on at all. 3x minus 2, when you have a linear, you're actually getting a line, and your traditional one is going up from bottom to top. X squared is a parabola. x cubed. X cubed actually gives us a little bit of a wave. X to the fourth is going to end up looking something like, almost like a parabola, but with an extra little hump in the middle. It still opens up like a parabola. X to the fifth is going to be kind of like x cubed, but since it had one hump, we're going to have two. And so from this, we can start to get a pattern of how evens tend to look alike and odds tend to look alike. That'll come in play in another unit. Now, let's look at one and put it in the right order. Here's a polynomial. We want to put it in standard form. Standard form means it's written in descending exponent order. So I'm going to find the largest exponent first. And the -3 is the coefficient of x to the 4, so it comes with it. Then we have our next biggest exponent, and then the constant goes last. This coefficient that goes with our very first term is called the leading coefficient. Being able to identify that leading coefficient and the degree of your polynomial is going to come in really handy later on. And the degree of this polynomial is a fourth degree, because the largest exponent is a 4. So the name of this is going to be a quartic. Now, depending on how many terms, we can also name it by terms. 1, 2, 3. That means we have a quartic trinomial.